Have you ever felt that you were different, not better, not superior, just different? As if there was a veil that others could not see, but you could glimpse beyond it? Perhaps you have always sensed that there is something more to life, something calling you toward a deeper understanding of existence. Throughout history, there have been those who do not simply drift through life, but instead feel an unshakable pull toward meaning. They cannot blindly accept what society dictates, nor can they ignore the profound truths they recognize in the world around them. If you have ever felt this way, you may be one of the chosen ones. Being chosen does not mean being selected by some divine force. It means awakening to the nature of reality. It means carrying the burden of awareness, experiencing the isolation of the awakening mind, and feeling the relentless pull toward a greater purpose. Those who walk this path often do so alone, but in their solitude, they discover their true selves. There are 3 undeniable signs that set the chosen ones apart. If you recognize them in yourself, then you are already walking this path, even if you do not yet fully understand it. The burden of deep awareness. One of the first signs of a chosen one is an unusual depth of awareness. This is not just intelligence, it is a profound ability to perceive beyond the surface of life. You notice what others miss. You feel things at a depth that others may never comprehend. While most people accept things as they appear, you cannot help but look deeper. This is both a gift and a challenge. A deeply aware mind often carries an invisible weight. The joy of others might feel bittersweet to you because you sense the sadness they hide. Words people say may sound incomplete because you intuitively perceive what they leave unsaid. Society operates on illusions, status, material wealth, shallow relationships, but you cannot be fooled by them. A young traveler journeyed from village to village, never feeling at home anywhere. Unlike others who sought riches, he sought understanding. He saw pain behind smiles and sensed falsehood and flattery. One day he met a Zen monk under a great tree. The monk observed him for a moment and said, "You carry a heavy burden." The traveler, confused, replied, "I have nothing but this small bag of food and clothes." The monk smiled. "That is not the burden I speak of. You see too much, feel too deeply, and cannot turn away from truth." The monk poured tea into a cup until it overflowed. A mind that absorbs too much becomes exhausted. To find peace, you must learn balance. The traveler for the first time understood. His deep awareness was a gift, but only if he learned how to carry it wisely. As time passed, the traveler began to observe even more. He saw the transience in people's happiness, the inevitable sorrow behind joy, and the fleeting nature of material success. He witnessed people clinging to illusions, believing they could outrun suffering by accumulating wealth, fame, or relationships. But he knew that none of these pursuits could bring true fulfillment. One evening, as he sat by a river, he watched a leaf drifting downstream. It floated effortlessly, surrendering to the current. At that moment, he realized the key to peace was not to resist awareness, but to surrender to it, to allow it to flow through him without attachment. Deep awareness was not about carrying the world's weight, but about seeing it without being consumed by it. Yet this realization was only the beginning of his journey. With knowledge comes responsibility. He could no longer unsee the truth, nor could he ignore the suffering around him. He saw those who lived in ignorance, trapped in illusions, and while part of him longed to join them in their blissful unawareness, he knew he could not. As he continued his travels, he encountered others who carried the same burden. Some had succumbed to despair, overwhelmed by the depth of their insight. Others had embraced solitude, avoiding the world entirely, but a few had learned the greatest lesson. Deep awareness must be paired with deep compassion. To see clearly and yet act with kindness, to understand suffering yet not be consumed by it, to walk through the world without losing oneself in it. This was the true balance. And so the traveler did not retreat into isolation, nor did he drown in sorrow. Instead, he learned to be a bridge, a guide for those seeking wisdom, a light for those lost in darkness. Awareness, he realized, was not a burden meant to weigh him down. It was a torch meant to illuminate the path ahead. The burden of deep awareness is not something to be removed, but something to be understood. Many chosen ones struggle with the intensity of their emotions, But wisdom comes when they learn how to balance their insights with inner tranquility. Accepting this awareness does not mean isolating oneself from the world. It means engaging with it in a way that is aligned with truth. With great awareness comes a responsibility to guide, to illuminate, and to bring clarity where there is confusion. The traveler, now wiser, no longer felt burdened. Instead, he saw his awareness as a light, not a weight, but a gift to be shared. The isolation of the awakening mind. If you are awakening, you may have felt disconnected from the world around you. Social gatherings might seem superficial, and conversations might feel empty. It is not that you despise others, you simply exist on a different wavelength, one that few can perceive. This sense of separation is not a punishment, it is a transformation. The mind that begins to see beyond illusions can no longer return to ignorance. And with this awakening comes a period of solitude. But this solitude is not a void. It is a sacred space of self-discovery. A traveler arrived in a village celebrating a grand festival. Laughter filled the air, and people danced joyfully. Yet as he stood among them, he felt utterly alone. A child noticed and asked, "Why don't you join us?" "I do not know how," the traveler admitted. The child laughed. "Just let go." But the traveler could not. He saw beyond the momentary excitement and sensed the deeper emptiness in their joy. He felt like an outsider, not because he rejected them, but because he could not unsee the fleeting nature of their happiness. That night, he returned to the monk and asked, "Why do I always feel alone?" The monk pointed at the moon. "It touches everything with its light, yet it never touches the earth. Your mind reaches beyond illusions, and because of that, you feel alone. But solitude is not the end. It is the beginning of your purpose. Feeling disconnected is not a flaw. It is a stage of awakening. The more you understand, the fewer people will understand you. The awakened mind no longer fits within the illusions of the world, and that can be an isolating experience. Yet within this solitude, there is power. The traveler wandered further into the unknown. At first, the loneliness felt unbearable, but in the stillness, he began to listen. To himself, to the world, to the whispers of wisdom hidden in silence. He learned to cherish these moments, finding clarity in the quiet. Meditation became his refuge, allowing him to process the depths of his thoughts without fear. He discovered that solitude was not a curse, but an invitation to know himself more deeply than ever before. As time passed, he began to notice a shift. His solitude, once painful, started to feel like a sanctuary. He realized that the world did not define him, nor did he need external validation to feel complete. The deeper he went into himself, the more he understood that true connection does not come from merely being around others. It comes from recognizing shared depth and understanding. Over time, the traveler encountered others who had walked this path. They too had felt lost at some point, struggling to reconcile their inner awareness with the outside world. Yet through shared understanding, their loneliness transformed into quiet companionship. They did not need validation from one another. Their presence alone was enough. One evening, as the traveler rested under a vast starlit sky, he realized something profound. Isolation was never meant to be permanent. It was a bridge, not a destination. It was a necessary phase, one that stripped away illusions and allowed him to embrace his own existence fully. But beyond that bridge lay something else, something even deeper than solitude. True connection. True isolation does not last forever. As you grow, you will find others who walk the same path, those who have awakened to the same truths and who understand the silent language of solitude. The world may not change, but the way you experience it will. The path of awakening is not about escaping loneliness, but learning to embrace it as a gateway to deeper wisdom and authentic connection. You are not alone in your solitude. Somewhere in this vast world, there are others who feel as you do, who seek what you seek, and one day your paths will cross, not because you searched for them, but because the universe aligns those who are meant to walk together. Embrace the silence, for it is in the silence that the soul speaks the loudest. The unshakable pull toward purpose. The pull toward purpose is like an unrelenting force within the chosen ones. It is not about ambition, nor is it about external success. It is an inner knowing, a sense that something greater awaits. Some try to suppress it, but it never truly disappears. The traveler asked the monk, "How do I know what my purpose is?" The monk replied, "Purpose is not found. It reveals itself in motion. You must step forward, even when the destination is unclear." Each step taken in alignment with one's deeper self leads closer to understanding. The path to purpose is not always clear, but resisting it leads to stagnation and discontent. Those who embrace it, despite the unknown, will find clarity along the way. At first, the traveler hesitated, fearing failure, fearing the unknown. But with each step, he began to feel something shift within him. He started to notice patterns in his journey, encounters that felt destined, lessons that emerged just when he needed them. Every challenge he faced became a guiding light, revealing another piece of the puzzle. One evening, as he walked along a narrow path through the mountains, he met an elderly woman sitting by the roadside. She was weaving a tapestry, intricate and beautiful, with colors that shimmered in the fading light. "What are you making?" the traveler asked. "A story," she said, smiling. "Every thread, every color represents a moment, a choice, a step in a greater journey. Just as with life, we may not see the full picture until it is complete, but each thread is necessary." The traveler watched in awe. "But how do you know where to place each thread?" The woman chuckled. "I trust the design will reveal itself in time, just as your purpose will. You need only to keep weaving." The traveler continued his journey with renewed faith. He realized that purpose was not about reaching a final destination, but about embracing the unfolding process. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, was a thread in his own tapestry, shaping a purpose greater than himself. Many fear their calling because it often requires stepping away from comfort and facing uncertainty. But purpose is not something to fear, it is something to surrender to. The chosen ones feel this pull not because they must achieve greatness in the eyes of the world, but because their soul demands it. The road ahead was not without obstacles. The traveler encountered resistance, self-doubt, and moments of exhaustion. He saw others turn back, choosing security over the unknown. But each time he questioned himself, he remembered the words of the monk. Purpose reveals itself in motion. And so he kept moving, trusting that each step was leading him closer to the path meant for him. As time passed, he noticed something unexpected. Others began to follow. Not because he had commanded them, but because they too sought their own path. His courage inspired them. His perseverance gave them strength. And in guiding them, he understood something profound. Purpose is not always about a personal mission. Sometimes it is about illuminating the way for others. One night he reached a mountaintop where the sky stretched infinitely above him, and the earth lay silent beneath. He realized that the journey itself was the purpose. The calling was never about reaching a final point. It was about becoming, evolving, and walking forward with trust. This journey is not about reaching a fixed goal. It is about walking the path with trust. Every experience, every lesson, every hardship shapes the purpose that awaits. True fulfillment comes not from arriving, but from embracing the journey itself. And so he walked forward, no longer desperate for answers, but instead trusting the path as it unfolded before him. The chosen ones are not defined by where they end up, but by how they continue moving forward, even in the face of uncertainty. For in the act of walking, purpose is revealed step by step, moment by moment. The journey of the chosen one is not meant to be easy. It is filled with challenges, doubts, and moments of solitude. Yet it is also filled with clarity, depth, and profound meaning. If you have felt the burden of deep awareness, the isolation of the awakening mind, and the undeniable pull toward purpose, then know this: you are not alone. The world may not understand your path. You may walk it without recognition, without validation from those around you. But the chosen ones do not seek approval. They seek truth. They do not conform to the expectations of the world. They transcend them. Your awareness is not a curse. It is a gift. Your solitude is not punishment. It is preparation. Your purpose is not an obligation. It is a calling. The traveler, after many years of searching, finally understood that there was no single destination, no final answer, only the journey itself. He no longer sought validation from others, nor did he crave understanding. Instead, he found solace in the rhythm of his footsteps, in the whispers of the wind, in the dance of the stars above him. The monk's words echoed in his mind. Purpose is not found, it reveals itself in motion. One evening, as he sat atop a quiet hill, he looked at the vast sky above him. The stars shone not for recognition, nor for praise, but simply because it was their nature to shine. He realized then that he too was meant to shine, not for approval, but because it was his nature. And so, to you who feel the same pull, who feel the weight of awareness and the loneliness of knowing, take comfort in this. The path you walk is not a mistake. It is the unfolding of something greater, something beyond comprehension. Do not fear the unknown, for the unknown is where the greatest revelations await. Step forward with courage. Trust the process. Keep weaving your tapestry one thread at a time. And know that in your journey you will find not only purpose, but also those who walk the same path, who understand and who will recognize in you the signs of a kindred soul. If you feel the pull, embrace it. The path is yours to walk, and only by walking it will you truly come to understand why you were chosen.